Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
Good morning. It is Coffee Ann time on ON Radio on this President's Day, Monday, February 20th. Thanks for joining us. My name is Joe Callahan. Melissa Murray has joined us at the Coffee Ann table. Hi, Melissa.
Good morning.
Nice
Good morning,
to have you
everyone.
here. Dave Richards is here as well. Good morning, Dave.
Oh,
Yes,
hey,
you are.
cool. I didn't move much.
No, you stayed in the same chair, so
Yeah.
we're good to go. So comments and questions can be called in. Dave will have to jump up and go answer the phone.
I will.
Because, well, someone's got to.
Well, all right.
As our usual phone operator is not with us today because
She's got a good union
it's
there.
a holiday, so she got a day off. So, all right. Anyway, if you want to call them in, 766-1240. Melissa just mentioned before we went on the air that, we have the passing of Richard Belzer over the weekend.
Oh, I love Law and Order
Dude.
and all incarnations. I'm a big fan.
all
I've seen
incarnations.
the
Every episode?
SVU. I've probably seen every episode, and it makes me sad.
He was 72, 78 in that general area.
Yeah.
The I don't know, his big claim to fame, though, is it might be the time he got knocked out live on his TV show. He had a talk show there for a little while by Hulk Hogan. They would talk. I don't know what they were talking
Why
about.
don't I know about this?
This happened because it happened about 25 years ago.
Still.
And look it up on YouTube.
I feel like
you'll
I should
find
know
it.
about this.
He wanted to be put into some kind of hold by Hogan, and Hogan put him in it. And I think he squeezed just a little too hard, and it was around his neck, and he cut off the blood to his neck.
So
and his
it's
carotid artery.
like for
And
real he got
dro-
past it.
Well,
Yeah.
watch. You tell me if it's real.
Okay,
You'll have
okay.
to watch it because he drops like a stone. It's not like, oh, I fell backwards kind of thing. It was he falls down. As I think he sued Hogan on this.
But he asked to be in the.
He asked to do it, so that's why I don't think it went anywhere. It does make you go.
I didn't know he had a talk show.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
This goes way back. So
All the sides of Richard Belzer.
yeah,
I didn't know.
you never knew. So there you go. So over the weekend was Mardi Gras. Did you? I know Dave attended. Melissa, did you attend?
I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good times.
It was a very, very nice event.
Yeah.
They switched it up a little bit, so unfortunately I missed the court part, but really good attendance, beautiful decor. I mean, they just did such a wonderful
It was the
job.
best ever.
Yeah.
This year, best ever, the way they decorated the hall.
Yeah,
Those
it was-
candelabras in the center of the tables. LED candelabras that were
Yeah.
2 feet high, Joe.
Yep.
I wonder where they got him.
I don't know. Candelabras are us.
I guess
perhaps.
maybe.
With big Mardi Gras colored bows, and they had glitter tablecloths, which really I just loved. And I'm like, I need some of those. Yeah, but it's like they were like the tablecloth was all sequin, but everyone was all dressed up. It was just it was a really nice event.
And
really lovely.
And the queen of the Mardi Gras, Tabitha, and King Jace, Adam Brunetti, making the rounds, having a good time,
Absolutely.
talking with everybody.
Yeah, it was really great. And then there was like a little selfie station where you
yeah?
could take selfies with or group pictures. It was very, very nice.
All right.
Food was good.
That was my next question. I was going to pass that off to Dave.
Oh,
Our food-
Dave can talk about that.
our food
I couldn't eat any. I'm
connoisseur.
not eating carbs right now, so I didn't get to sample everything.
All right. Dave, did you get to sample everything?
Yep.
And your good stuff?
Yep.
What do they serve?
Well, there were quite a number of items there, and I don't think I would have. I don't have the memory to get the names of them
All right.
proper.
What did you have then?
A little bit of everything,
Okay. Yeah.
except for the bread. I laid off on the bread.
Okay. Going on low carb there, too.
Well, I don't know about low, but I try to control it. The first thing that you came up with was a lovely salad with pasta. It's a pasta salad. That one was just delightful. After that was a spicy Cajun rice.
Jambalaya.
Yep. And it was not so spicy that it would bother you, but it had a little kick in there just so it could say it was Cajun rice. It was one of those things where, like, Denise didn't favor it. Too spicy for Denise, not too spicy for Dave. All right, so we had a little bit of that. Then we had a spoonful of what was coming up next. Yes, potatoes. And then we had the corn. It was a corn dish that had a French name, and I never saw it before. So
Yeah, neither have I.
I didn't remember it.
And they were-
but it was
there was
nice.
pulled
It was
pork.
like a. Yeah, and pulled pork,
Which
right?
I had.
Just before the corn,
Yeah.
pulled pork. Really nice pulled pork. Anyway, so we went down as we went, and then, of course, at the end was a nice slice of French meat pie tourtière. And
What does that mean?
meat pie.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Yeah.
with that French word you've stuck at the end. I don't know if there was something on it
that's
or in it.
That's what the French people call it, and the
All
rest of
right.
us call it meat pie.
All right.
I later found out that those came from Cellos.
Oh,
That
really?
they purchased them from Cellos, or there was a donation and purchase. It was I think it was a cooperative thing. Nobody from Cellos came, but they gave us the pies, and they warmed them up there at St. Anne's, and boy, they were yummy. I
and
like
big.
ketchup on mine. Not everybody does; they're purists, but I like a little ketchup on mine, and it was just, moist, really nice.
Yep.
That's the important part. Dry is just drives you
Yeah,
crazy.
well, dry pies don't do it for me
Yeah.
either. Yeah, right. But very nice, moist. I wanted to go back and have more, but I was a good boy. I didn't.
All right. Very good.
I had 2 slices of meat pie because,
'Cause it's
meat
delicious.
pie. Because it's delicious.
Yeah,
I didn't eat all the crust, but
Oh, you did.
I was
Okay.
trying to be good. But it was really good. Like, when you get when I make meat pie, it's like, an inch high. This
Yeah.
meat pie was like
Oh gosh, it
2.5
is.
inches
Yeah.
high. Like, it was really,
Exactly.
really yummy.
So
Good times.
Why do you make
Good.
only a 1-inch high meat pie? If you're going to go through all that work, might as well make a big one.
I think it just turns out that way.
I don't know. I think it just turned out that way.
Oh, okay.
right?
So you try to make a 7-layer cake and it turns into 2.
It's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work, is right.
Maybe I don't put potatoes in mine. I don't know if there's potatoes in this. Maybe a little bit to bind it up.
All right. Well, congratulations to the where am I? Before I do that, how was the music? The Squeezebox.
Squeezebox Stompers.
Good stuff.
That was an interesting thing that went on with the Squeezebox Stompers.
What's that?
They're good.
Yes.
They have a variety
Uh-huh.
that you don't get in a lot of places. And I know that there's some bands that just do the Creole stuff, but the Squeezebox Stompers throw a lot of Zydeco in with it.
That's fun
And they're
stuff.
smart too,
Mhm.
because one of the most popular bands we ever had hasn't been a band in quite a number of years. We haven't been able to have them back. Was Bob and his Slippery Sneakers band. Mm-hmm. I forgot Bob's last name for a moment. It'll come back to me later. Slippery Sneakers band broke up. They were fixtures, and a lot of Zydeco. They had the young girl there. I think her name was Ann, with the washboard on her on her front, and she was scratching it with the spoons for a little rhythm, and quite a tight band too, and people just absolutely loved them. Well, these folks are smart. They played a lot of Zydeco too,
All right.
and that's a really good thing. And then there was also, when the band was on break, they kept playing music and people kept getting up dancing.
Dancing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a real good night all the way around.
Congratulations to the Northern Rhode Island Council of the Arts for putting on the Mardi Gras Ball and the whole Mardi Gras festivities.
They
So-
did one thing interesting this year that they hadn't done before.
All right. What's that?
And when they were presenting the royal court, they made a decision which they call the No Princess Left Behind Act of 2023. And so we had 4 people running for Mardi Gras Queen, and we had crowned first and second princesses and a queen. But there was a young lady, Tanya, who she wasn't crowned as a princess that night. But they passed a little rule, and she was a princess for the night. And she said, they said, from now on, all the ladies who run will all be princesses, and they'll be marked in order of how they sold tickets.
All right.
So we had a 4th princess. Well, actually, it's a 3rd princess.
Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
3rd princess there. And the other thing that they did, which is so 21st century, is that they said, okay, all the queens, the princesses could all choose a prince. And the prince got a crown and a sash and stuff like that. Only one of them wore it all night.
Yes, proudly.
So, boy, he really loved his.
Yeah, I did. Yes.
So anyway,
I thought that was cute. It was cool.
well, it is kind of cute and cool.
All right. Well, I'm glad a good time was had by all, and we look forward to next year's.
Yeah, for sure.
When they do it again. All right. Well, the House has passed a bill and it's allowing retired teachers to substitute teach for up to 120 days in a school year. It used to be just 90 days.
Right.
And now it's been moved to 120 days, and it will not adversely impact their retirement benefits. Sounds like a great idea. Sounds okay to me. And now it moves on to the Senate for their consideration.
Any buzz in the Senate?
Well, there's two different bills versions in the Senate. So
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, there may have to be a
There
reconciliation.
might. Yep. There will be. To match. And
What's the difference between the two?
one of them is for 180 days
Instead of 120?
Instead of 120.
Well, for pity's sake, you only go to school for 180 days a year.
Well, right. So, I mean, at the end of the day, there's a teacher shortage,
Yeah.
and we can't. The argument too is like, if you need somebody, right? You need somebody, and you have who better than a person who already knows how to do this, because there's so much of a teacher shortage that sometimes like kids get shifted to another class or like there's not even enough subs. There aren't even enough subs. So I think, one of the two senators who put in the bill will end up matching their bill to the House bill, and they'll have to negotiate that. But I think it's needed. Yeah.
So, but if the Senate votes on it and makes it, no, it should be 180 days, does
Then
it then go back to the House?
Correct.
Okay. Get them to argue about it. And see
Well, I mean,
see
I
what
think
they
at the
say.
end of the day, we'll probably match the House bill,
Yeah.
but you never know. You never know.
Yeah, you're right. You never know
But
what's
it needs
gonna
to happen right away so that we can keep folks going, because it's just about that. Oh gosh, it's even more than halfway through
yeah.
the year. So, there's a noticeable shortage after that 90 days runs out.
Took no time at all for the House to pass that puppy.
Right. They were out in front of this. So I think that was purposeful. And it was passed by a rep who is a special ed teacher.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, no. You know what? I don't
No?
think he's a special ed teacher, but he's a teacher. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of schools, Smithfield High and the nearby Pleasant View Elementary School in Smithfield,
They're on the same piece of land.
placed in lockdown on Friday when it was learned a student, I'm going to assume the student was at the high school, had a knife. Mm-hmm. And not an elementary school student having a knife. No threats were made. However, Channel 6 reports the student was arrested because the district has a zero tolerance policy for weapons. Yes, Melissa.
You saw my face.
Yeah.
So how old was the student?
It doesn't say. And I said, I'm making the assumption it was a high school student. It doesn't actually say.
Right. And how big? What kind of knife? Like,
It doesn't say.
Was it a little pocket knife that accidentally
Doesn't
was
matter.
in the
Doesn't-
pocket?
it doesn't matter. That's right.
It
Doesn't
really should.
But it doesn't.
Zero tolerance means all human judgment has been
It's going out the
removed.
window. We've judged for you.
If there's one thing I can't tolerate is zero tolerance.
Yeah, it's bad.
So, yeah, it could be.
But I mean, it makes good headlines.
Well, of course it does.
Man we
has
have
knife.
zero
Kid-
tolerance for this. Okay.
Child
fine,
has
no.
knife. Student has knife at school. They're
That
just
means
gonna,
okay, right? Yeah, we if you're running something, and you default to zero tolerance, you have taken the human element out of all of it, and you should not be paid because we don't pay machines.
Yeah. And they
No
even-
stipends for the board that says zero tolerance.
They
No
even-
stipends because we don't pay non-humans, and humans have judgment.
And they even tell you that the humans say, "We're so sorry, but this
We're
is
so
the
sorry.
rule, and
We're so sorry,
can't- we
These
can't
are
do anything."
These
Okay.
people who do this are
we have
weak
no leeway.
leaders. They're weak leaders.
Mm-hmm.
They want the decisions, the human decisions requiring judgment, taken out of their hands so they can't be blamed for doing the wrong thing.
Yes. Okay. More on this.
That's a weak leader,
coming
in
up
my
in
opinion.
just a bit. But we have to take a break here on the Coffee and program. If you want to call in comments or questions, you can. 766-1240.
You know, when you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better. Like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, two locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
ON, AM, and FM.
All right, Coffee Ann here on ON Radio. This is Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards and Melissa Murray. We just talked about the student at Smithfield that was arrested because he brought a, I'm assuming it was a he, doesn't say, could be a girl. Student brought a knife to school. Just
Yeah,
talk about
equal opportunity, Joe.
Just talk about the intolerance. I just remember being in school.
Girls can get arrested for having a knife too.
That's right. Kids brought pocket knives to school, and I
they
remember
did.
I remember teachers saying, especially if they had it out and were doing something, teachers would say, "Give that to me."
Yeah.
And they would. And they say, "Get it back after school." And,
Right.
They didn't. No one was arrested. No one
Right.
was shocked.
Yeah.
No one was
Because human
thrown out a
judgment was
window.
employed.
Like, stop carving your initials in the desk.
In the desk, yes. Please stop doing that. Do that on your own time, kind of thing. But they just make the blanket. Here's if you get caught with this is what happens, and that's it. We don't even have to think about it anymore, Dave. We're making it easier for the teachers. We're making it easier for the administrators.
We're removing their capacity to function as humans.
That's right, because they might in my estimation, they might make the wrong judgment.
Gee whiz.
And I know better. I know
Right.
best. And this is what should happen.
Right. And so you said there's a high school on the premises.
Yes.
Well, not everybody
Well, St.
graduates.
Piece of Land has a high school and they.
Oh, okay,
and a
right.
In an elementary school.
elementary.
So we don't know which one it was. And, not everybody graduates early or whatever. I mean, sometimes you have 18, 19-year-olds in high school. What if it's an 18-year-old with a pocket knife and they get arrested? Now they have a record for a pocket knife?
Yeah.
So, was it,
Yep.
again, was it
We're not thinking, boys and girls.
a teenager with a machete? Or was it, just some...
Now, the
Got
teenager
kid-
with a machete, he's got to have a stern talking to. That's for
yeah,
sure.
right. That's
Oh,
an
yeah,
issue.
yeah,
That's
And
an
lose
issue.
and lose
But, was it a little...
machete is a weapon.
Right. Or was it a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout who had their pocket knife on them or whatever? I mean,
Which
it's
they
just...
might use for removing labels from clothes or heaven knows what other benign task.
Or was it someone whose parent put a knife in their lunchbox to help them
Cut up the apples.
cut up the whatever? Right. Who knows? We don't know.
My wife is very
Frustrating.
good at that with my daughter's lunches. She
Yeah.
cuts up the apples every day.
That's nice. What a nice
So
lady.
no weapons, not even plastic knives.
Speaking of
Right.
ice, we have some
Go
coming
that
in
way.
from Mother Nature later in the week, Joe. I don't know.
What's
if you-
coming in later on?
Some ice.
Yeah, ice, snow, sleet. We'll worry about that a little later on.
Okay.
Down in Providence, also back on Friday, bomb threat at Nathaniel Green Middle School. Now, usually the bomb threats if someone calls in, bomb the building. Not this time.
No.
This time, the principal and a teacher say they overheard a 13-year-old said he had a bomb in his locker. And so, okay, everything stops. Now, it says the locker was searched and this student was arrested, but it didn't say if they found anything. Now,
Yeah.
they're saying threat. They're not saying bomb found, just that it was a bomb threat. So, can we go with the assumption there was nothing
I
there?
have a hard time reporting on that stuff in schools because they don't want to. They're so tight-lipped about it all
Yeah.
because it involves youngsters, and anything you say could be scrutinized
Can and will
and
be used
objected
against you
to
in a
by
court
the
of law.
youngsters' parents.
Yeah.
You can't identify.
Yeah.
And you don't want to give enough information so someone could figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's tough reporting on that stuff.
Did you say
I have-
the 13-year-old was arrested?
Yeah.
Yes. Because you can't make a threat now. You can't say I have a bomb in the locker. That's an automatically arrestable offense. And then if you do have one, well, there's another charge we're just going to stick on top of what we've already arrested you for.
You
It's
won't
like
be
a
coming back for a while.
school
put it
school
that
to
way.
prison pipeline.
Yes.
You'll be enrolled in a new school next week, Sauconasset University.
Is that where the vineyard is?
No.
All right.
Yeah, this. We need to
That's
stop
what we
arresting
always called
children.
it.
We just
We
need to
called it-
stop arresting children. Like these children need help.
When I was very
He was
young, we
probably
called it
just
Reform
kidding.
School. When I
Yeah,
was a little
that's
older,
what
we
we
called it
called
Sauconasset University
We just called it the prison.
because that's the road that
The
it's on.
ACI,
Yeah.
But yeah, we're back to what I just said. Weapon, bomb, immediately arrested. We're trying to send a message of the zero tolerance. You can't do this. So these are the consequences.
No, it's bad policy. It's just bad policy.
How do
Now
you,
there ought to be a law outlawing.
how do you change it?
Can you do that? Can you get something passed to eradicate
To eliminate
intolerance?
zero tolerance.
You'd be
Eradicate
crucified if you did
intolerance.
that.
I sure would, but
Eradicate
what?
tolerance.
No, get rid of zero tolerance policies.
Get rid of zero tolerance
Yeah,
policies.
zero
You
tolerance
absolutely
policies
could. And
should be eliminated.
yeah, they should.
in
That's
favor
a,
of
that's a good bill. That's a good bill, and but boy, would that be a controversial bill.
Sure
Yeah.
would be.
It could be mandatory adjudication instead of zero tolerance,
But
implying that judgment would be employed.
That's right.
In handling the situation.
Yeah, and there always should be.
Sure.
But then you have disparity. Oh, Johnston High, as an example, allows you to bring a knife to school, when Socket High doesn't. Well, that's not fair.
Well, gee whiz, it's totally fair. You can move from Johnston to Woonsocket or vice
Or the other
versa.
way. Yeah, that's
I mean,
true,
it's
but-
a free country.
Yes.
You can move if you don't
Easier
like
said than
things
done.
here. If you don't happen to like the policies that are enacted in our laws in Rhode Island, move to Massachusetts. If you don't like them there, go to Kentucky. Who knows? I mean, you can find a place that suits you. That's why the big hue and cry, of course, after, and I think it's just tragic, all of the stuff that's happened because of the reversal of Roe v. Wade, with states now taking over abortion rights. I look at that and I says, that's mighty doggone tragic what's going on. But if you divide by two often enough, you say to yourself, if you don't like it in Arkansas, move to Texas. If you don't like it in Texas, go to California. You can move anywhere in this country you want.
Right.
Nobody scrutinizes you for it. You just decide to move, and that's what they mean by free country. It doesn't mean you can do any doggone thing you want. It just means that if you want to move, then you can move. My daughter did it. She's a Texas citizen now. Grew up right here next to the Narragansett Bay, but she's in Texas now for work.
But it's easier said than done.
Right.
Nicole,
Right.
Nicole is a
It's never
single
easy.
woman.
It's
if you have a
never
family,
easy.
that's now.
Yeah, you can't just pick up and leave when you have a family. It's very, very
Well,
difficult.
the fact is, legally, you can.
Well,
And if there are complications,
theoretically,
then
you
address your complications, your specific complications, but you can still get it done. There's nobody in the government telling you can't do it.
All right. But back to the zero tolerances. If one community's more tolerant than the other
Yeah.
than another, you're gonna
Then
hear
you got another community that you like better.
you're gonna hear people pounding the table. This isn't.
I mean, I don't think you can say like, oh, it's okay. We don't mind if you bring
Yeah.
a knife to school.
No, I don't
But
think anybody would say
under
that
the-
because
under
they
the
didn't say that
circumstan-
one
right.
back in the ancient days when I was in school.
But under the
they just didn't
circumstances,
talk about it then. But if you took it out in school, out of your pocket, and used it, there were words.
you lose it. Right.
Because it is considered a weapon and it wasn't part of school learning, and you weren't, you just weren't supposed to be flashing that stuff around. So you use discretion. Ooh, discretion, another judgmental property. Discretion.
Well, so when kids in elementary school, they're the ones who get this one. The kid picks up a stick while they're out at recess and goes bang.
Yeah, oh my.
It's a weapon now. No, it's a stick. But anyway, let's move on to something else.
Let's move on to something else.
Okay, Melissa, Senate President Dominic Ruggiero has had enough.
Oh dear.
And he wants Scott Avedisian out.
Ripta.
Not out at RIPTA. And not in a week, not in two. Today. Gone. All right. The quasi-public agency has been, quote, plagued by worsening problems in recent years. Those problems include a high-profile cyber attack that compromised the personal information of thousands of state workers and a bus driver shortage at the start of the school year. The driver shortage is really not Avedisian's fault. There's shortages everywhere. It's tough to blame him for that.
Top takes the licks.
But it's
Right,
you can't blame him for it. Unless they weren't taking in applications. Dave, before Melissa, you know Scott Avedisian.
I do.
I don't know if you know Dominic Ruggiero, but should
Melissa
Avedisian...
knows him better than me, but I
Okay.
met him.
All right. Knowing Scott Avedisian, should he go? How do you think he's running RIPTA? Do you have an opinion on it?
My opinion is this. We're looking at a situation like the manager of the New York Yankees.
He's going to be fired?
Sometimes you got to replace the manager.
Okay.
Just to shake things up and show that you're doing something and put some fresh blood in.
New
Whether the-
ideas.
Whether the person needs to be fired or not, you need fresh management. And if that's the case in the eyes of the Senate president, then he's going to say so and work within his sphere of influence to get it done. Scott, on the other hand, released. If you listen to what you have in front of you is only the wire copy.
Right.
I have the press release from RIPTA also on my computer, and I'll have to open up my computer and turn it on in order to read it for you. But portions of the response from Mr. Avedisian were included in our version of the Wire story that we put on the radio today. It's story number 8. And he goes through talking about when he got to RIPTA, he identified these problems. Most of them were money and rolling stock problems. They had buses that were in the shop too much. They didn't have enough. They had to replace them. You have to get money to replace them. Then you have a union contract to address. You need more money for that. Nobody wants to subsidize RIPTA, but I don't know a single transportation authority in any of the states that runs at a profit. They're all money losers, but they're services to the community that the government deems necessary and funds begrudgingly.
Look at the T in Boston. They never make any money.
That's right. That's right. And so, see if I can look that up. So anyway, Christy Raposo Perry, who used to be the public information officer and is now pressed into service as the acting public information officer. Before she got the last name Perry, she was the public information officer. So anyway, here's the statement on behalf of Scott Avedisian. I'm reading it off the press release from RIPTA.
Is this a quote from him?
This is a quote.
Okay.
RIPTA, the challenges of RIPTA are many and stretch back many years. Since my first day, this is Scott Avedisian talking, since my first day here, I've worked with the dedicated RIPTA team to make us better, and we have accomplished a great deal. We have balanced the agency budget and increased capital funding. We have added new buses and paratransit vehicles to our fleet, and the agency's pension plan is in a much better place. Based on this record, we received over $45 million in federal grants, a testament to the good work of the RIPTA team. Meanwhile, we were one of only a few transit agencies in the United States not to cut service during the pandemic.
Okay.
Second paragraph, in the last paragraph, but there is a lot more to do. I look forward to having the opportunity to speak with the Senate about their concerns, then working together with them to secure the resources it will take to address the remaining challenges RIPTA faces. That's from Scott Avedisian. So when you look at that and you look at what the Senate president said, enough is enough. What I read into that is that, okay, it's time for a new manager for the baseball club.
All right, Melissa, thoughts on
They maybe didn't
this
deserve
call?
to get fired, but we want somebody new.
Yeah, I agree, and I also think
Really? You read it the same way?
I do, yeah, and I think it's also messaging. Like, look, these things need to change. We want them to change now, and if you don't change them, then you're out. Or maybe it doesn't matter. You're out. We're going to get somebody else in.
Who can fire Scott Avedisian?
Well, he is
governor?
Appointed by the governor,
Ratified,
confirmed
right.
by the Senate.
Okay. So can the Senate
So the
president
confirming
remove him?
body is disenchanted with their confirmation.
Okay.
Right.
Well, we'll see if it goes anywhere.
Yeah, to be
then it's a-
continued, right?
Yes,
It's a bargaining
absolutely.
chip at budget time with the governor, isn't it?
Yes,
Yep,
it
yep,
certainly
yep.
is. All right, break
You
time.
got it.
Break time here on Coffee. It's time for the forecast being brought to you
It's
by.
scary what I understand nowadays.
This weather forecast brought to you by Compassion International.
Mostly cloudy skies today with a high of 57. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low of 32. Tuesday's weather, snow is 80% likely, possibly mixed with rain before noon, then rain in the afternoon, high of 40 degrees. Wednesday, partly sunny, high of 42. Wednesday night, 100% chance of rain, snow, and sleet, likely before midnight. Snow and sleet between midnight and 2 a.m., and then freezing rain after 2 a.m. Overnight low of 29, north winds gusting to 15 miles per hour during the nighttime hours. Thursday, freezing rain and sleet before 10 a.m., and then rain and sleet between 10 and 4, then freezing rain after the sun goes down. High of 35 Thursday. Friday, mostly sunny, high of 35. And on Saturday, there's a chance of snow, but partly sunny as well, with a high of 29. And Sunday, a 40% chance of rain and snow, partly sunny, 42.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street with the cloudy skies, we have 49 degrees. Families in poverty are facing a global food crisis. $50 provides a food kit to feed a family for a month. Just text the word radio to 97646.
So you're remodeling your home and you want to find just the right flooring. So off you go to DRL Carpet. Why? Because they have the best selection and prices in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. That means you don't have to wait. Plus, it means you can get it installed now. So first you get the best price, next you get the best service, and you get the best selection. Whether you're looking for carpet, tile, hardwood floors, the place to shop is DRL Carpet, 27 Veterans Way, Woonsocket, next to World War II Veterans Memorial Park. DRL Carpet reminds you there's a big difference between getting the job done and getting the job done right. DRL Carpet of Woonsocket. It's almost spring, and your plants are hungry. Feed them with Vos True Value Hardware's wide selection of fertilizers and plant foods. Bargains of the month at Vos True Value Hardware include Rubbermaid 25-gallon trash cans for $24.99 and Quickie professional large angle brooms for just $9.99. And let's not forget the batteries. A 16-pack of AA or AAA alkaline batteries is only $15.99. Whatever your project needs, locally owned Vos True Value Hardware is here to help. Stop in and see them today at 849 Cumberland Street, Woonsocket.
Hey, it's ON Radio's Cruz and Bruce Palmer inviting you to join me for the Saturday Block Party. It's every Saturday from 4 until 7 p.m. when we fill the airwaves with the songs you want to hear. It's a party in every sense of the word, so join me live on 99.5 and 1240 a.m. or bring the show with you wherever you go at onworldwide.com.
All right, it is Coffee and here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us on this President's Day.
Entirely welcome, Joe.
Okay, I'm Joe Callahan. Melissa Murray is here. Dave Richards is here as well. Okay, we haven't brought this up in about, since it started. I thought it would take care of itself, but it has not. And Melissa's on the social media. Dave, not so much. I am a bit, and it just seems. And if you had to see this on social media, there was a big thing that happened in Ohio. Train derailments, big explosions, big
We get that
toxic
on radio news, too.
stuff. Yeah, but now we have it. We didn't have it 2 weeks ago.
That's not true.
And-
when it happened, it was all over the radio.
Well, people were calling for, FEMA said they weren't going to go, and now they're criticizing Biden because he's over in the Ukraine and Poland, and now they're saying, well, FEMA's only going to go because Trump said he's going to go. And it's a big environmental mess.
It's an environmental nightmare.
Yeah. And now things are floating into Canada.
Yeah, and there's who knows what toxic poisons in the air.
Yeah.
Fish are just
And birds.
fish and birds are just dying. Obviously, there's something wrong here. I don't know what I would do if I would live there. I would just probably go stay somewhere else for like a really long time if I could. But it's terrifying. Who knows what the long-term effects are going to be on folks who live there.
And I see people complaining, we're sending billions and millions of dollars to the Ukraine. And you look at that, there's that one video actually of the train
And the
and the
smoke.
track. Well, the
Yeah.
tracks that are run, it's like, why can't we send somebody there to get this fixed? It's all, up and down and wavy.
Yep,
and
yep.
Back and forth. It's just I don't know.
Well, I mean, we hear this all the time, the whataboutisms.
Yeah.
You know, we can do both. We can do both.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be an either or, but, you know, we need to prioritize. We have all this money for our infrastructure and transportation upgrades. Let's use it.
Not being used over
It's
there.
not being used, right.
And Biden's getting his fair share of criticism on this.
Right.
It's been 2 weeks
Yep.
since this stuff took place, and he's not going.
Right.
Some
Well,
of that is the full diaper syndrome. You know, people just if they don't like something, if they're not happy, they just whine and they make accusations and they cry and stuff like. And they leave it up to government officials to make them happy. Well, I'm sorry, you got to grow up sometime. That's why I call it the full diaper syndrome, because babies don't know any better. So babies just whine and cry and make you miserable when they're not happy. And so, you know.
But it's also the same thing.
Maybe it's a little crass I put it that way, but that's something that worked for me a long time ago.
You're criticized as the president. You're criticized if you go, and you're criticized if you
Oh
don't
gosh,
go.
yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Because if you don't
can't
like
make
somebody,
everybody
you
happy.
criticize everything, right?
Yeah.
If you
Correct.
like somebody, then you let a few things slide.
Why are you here? You're gumming up the works.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe you didn't come. What, do you have no compassion?
Right. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
But
Well, the same thing. Governor McKee, same situation. He wasn't able to attend a particular function that I was at, and people were saying,
believe the governor's not here?
I talked to the governor, and the governor said, "Well, you know, I'm in Newport at 9 a.m. Your thing is at 10, and I've got to be in Cumberland at 10:30. Maybe there's a chance, but if I'm delayed in Newport, you ain't going to see me."
Yeah.
well, right. And then if you've already have a commitment, if you give your word, you have to keep it.
Well, that was all. Yeah, that was
You know,
already on
as always,
schedule.
right,
He
but-
was scheduled for 9 o'clock in Newport, 10:30 in Cumberland. Okay, it's a small state. He can get there by car. Doesn't need the helicopter that Mr. Chafee had. But I'm sure sometimes that would come in handy. But it's a big liability for the state anyway, and they got rid of it eventually. But heck, when you're in demand like that, you've got a schedule. You know, it's just I just found it terribly disingenuous that they kept saying that the president was going to Poland. Come on.
And with the Ukraine first. Now then he's going to Poland.
Oh, I'm going over to Poland because I want to talk to Polish people and I want to talk about my friendship to Ukraine. Come on, you're going to Kyiv.
Well,
know you're going to Kyiv.
right. You're at least going to the border, right?
Yes.
To, you know, but as far as this huge, spectacular, awful environmental tragedy, it needs to be.
What's he going to do?
Right,
if he gets
Well, I don't know.
sure, right, but it would. He can't
But he's
do anything, but it's a showing of support. Like, hey, we acknowledge this, and we're gonna remediate it.
Also being criticized is Buttigieg, the director of transportation.
Well, that's because people love to criticize him.
And they
Yeah.
say, well, it's the thing with the trains that are derailing in Ohio a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Which is why Gina didn't want that job.
Too much work?
She was offered that job.
Department of Transportation.
Yeah. She didn't want that. She wanted Department of Commerce.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what she
That
got.
way, nothing's your fault. I mean, the weather screws up. No big deal. The weather's the weather, right? It's not my fault.
All right. So we're on the count. We're on the watch. Jimmy Carter has gone home. He's moved into hospice care. It's just he doesn't want to be in the hospital, and so he's now at home to be as comfortable as possible. He's 98, and everything you heard over the weekend was all basically the same. Nice guy, great guy, not a very good president,
Right.
but just a very nice guy.
But he did more to help folks after he left office, and I think
I disagree.
you disagree. Okay, but I think he is an example of a person that used their office and used their position to help other people, which is always the right thing to do. Like, use your position and your influence and your privilege to help other people. I mean, he's out there in his 90s building homes for Habitat for Humanity. Like, he just was so philanthropic and just a nice guy. And I remember the night. That's the first election that I remember, right? I think it was 1980.
70, he lost in 80.
Right. That's the first one I remember.
Okay.
So I was 5, maybe just turned 6. And I remember my mom was really upset that Reagan won the election. Because obviously not obviously, but my family's,
Democrats.
hardcore Democrat. And I remember my mom being upset, and I didn't really understand. But she had voted for Carter. So
That's funny. First one I remember is Kennedy. Shows you a little age difference there. Huh? The first time, that's the first one and I was about the same age as you're talking about.
Yep.
I did want to explain why I disagree with you about how he did more after he was president. I disagree, but you might think I'm splitting hairs here. For the 4 years he was president, I believe he did more for that 4 years. After that, if you took any 4 years after that, he did less than what he did when he was president. And here's why I think so. It has to do with world peace, which you find very few people who are against it. And what he did to try to establish and ensure world peace in 4 small years, you could only do as president of the United States. And I feel that he made more progress than any of his predecessors. And so I give him high marks for that. In fact, I recall that same election is the first one you recall. I was voting in that one, and I felt for sure that Mr. Carter had earned re-election. I was so surprised when he didn't earn it. But I later understood that people wanted him in because he was a Washington outsider, and they were tired with the good old boy thing. They were tired with Spiro Agnew had to resign, Richard Nixon had to resign. Gerald Ford, even though I know and you know and everybody else knows it was the best thing for the country that he pardoned Nixon. Gerald Ford committed political suicide when he pardoned Nixon. And after all of that, they just said, we've had it with Washington politics, and they put Jimmy Carter in. He's a man of faith. He's a veteran of the service. He's established his country. He's been a governor of a state, so he must know how to run a country. Wrong. He's been on the school board in his town. He must know a little about politics. Yeah, but not enough. So anyway, he came in being exactly what he advertised himself to be, and people bought it. And when he got in, he found out that Washington didn't like outsiders.
Right.
Now, here's a man who of great faith and confidence and a very positive person who expected that if the president told you to do something, you'd go out and do it to the best of your ability. Wrong. Mr. Carter, wake up. You tell a bureaucrat to do something, or people in the military to do something that they're not on board with, and you're going to have resistance. You're going to have people who are just not saluting smartly and running up the hill like Ollie North. and he suffered from that. The bureaucrat, the whole thing with the B-2 bomber, was the B-1 bomber back then? I've forgotten. And then, of course, the Iran hostage crisis.
That's what really hurt him.
Exactly.
And the failed attempt.
And the failed attempt was the military wanted to do it a certain way, and he said, no, I want to do it this way where nobody gets killed, nobody hurts. But the military wanted to go and bomb, I'm told. I wasn't in the meeting, so I don't know for sure. They wanted to go in usual military style and soften things up for the troops to go in and do the job. And Carter says, absolutely not. I want no civilians hurt here. You have to go in and do this surgically and strategically. And so the military was not on board, and they gaffed it. Mm-hmm. They just gaffed it because, all right, the president said to go do it. We're not going to think anymore because we're just taking orders. And they put the helicopters out there in the middle of a dust storm. The dust got into the helicopter jet engines, and then people died. Mm-hmm. And it was not...
Like you always said, the guy at the top takes the blame.
That's right.
He took the blame.
He took the licks. And right. So anyway, he did. But it just goes to show you that he was a good and honorable man doing a job that needed somebody who was a little more realistic.
All right, and but now it looks like he's coming down to the end here. So the watch is
And
on.
98
Yeah.
years is
Yeah.
not bad.
Right. It's a good run.
And Rosalind's still around. And,
Yeah.
Well, she's younger by
Yeah.
a few years.
Okay.
Well, they were married 76 years, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Where's Amy these days?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't hear much about it. I
Right.
hear that his grandson is in charge of the Carter Foundation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, which gives you an idea of the. Anyway, Mr. Carter was a very, very nice man. We thank him for his
Yeah,
service.
definitely.
He took the licks, and he never complained about
No.
taking the licks.
No, he didn't.
And then when it was all over, he reorganized his life and says, "What else can I do with the
Yep,
years
what-
I got left?"
yep,
And
Gotta
he
build
went out
houses.
and did it.
We're gonna
Right.
Go build houses with Houses for Humanity.
Yeah,
So good for
and
him.
he
Yeah.
went out and swung a hammer
Swung
too.
a hammer, that's
Yeah,
right.
yep.
Actually built them.
Yep.
Yeah,
Literally.
All right.
80 years old. He's swinging a hammer.
We're
Yep.
gonna take another break here on the Coffee and program. More coming up. Stay tuned.
Henry's Auto Repair on Park Avenue in Woonsocket can get and keep your car working. They don't cut corners with your repairs or safety, and they talk in plain English about what they find wrong with your car. They do their best to fix what's wrong quickly and with the least expense. Call Henry's Auto Repair in Woonsocket at 762-2325 weekdays. That's 762-2325. Henry's Auto Repair, 1068 Park Avenue, Woonsocket. Always a 10% military and first responder discount at Henry's.
1, 2, 3, go.
Go where?
Tell them.
Tell them what?
Never mind. That is Manny Brando, and I am Virginia. And together we bring you the Manny Brando Show every Sunday from 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. over ON, AM, and FM.
I like to say something now.
No, time's up. It's Sundays, 8:30 to 9:30 a.m.
Too early for me.
Too bad.
Can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
All right, it is Coffee and here on ON AM and FM. Joe Callan here, along with Melissa Murray. Dave Richards says here, but he popped out of the studio for just a minute, but he'll be coming on back. And so they're not happy in Boston, Melissa.
Are they ever?
No, you're right. No, but this time, the mayor up there, Michelle Wu, came out with the there'll be no dining in the North End.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now the restaurants in the North End, what? The North End.
No outdoor dining, right?
No outdoor dining.
Right.
There are about 95 restaurants in the North End in about a third of a square mile, all within walking distance. On-street dining will not be allowed. They're not happy. City officials said neighborhood residents have complained about traffic congestion, sanitation problems. So they haven't heard the end of this. They want to have outdoor dining in the summertime
Yep.
and get people outside.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the best things that came out of the pandemic was all of a sudden now all of these restaurants, they decided to literally take it outside and they, became innovative and did all of these, wonderful things. And turns out people really enjoy dining outside.
They
I
do.
love dining
Yeah.
outside. And like when I moved here from Atlanta, there wasn't the only place in Woonsocket to dine outside was the Burrito Company, but it was only like two.
They have 3 tables. Right
Yeah, 2 or 3
outside there
tables,
to the
right.
Front door.
And nobody else had outside dining. That was what, 13, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
Fast forward, now it's great. Ciro's has a beautiful patio and River Falls has outdoor dining. Like, it's a
And
good thing.
Christopher's has their
Christ-
upstairs patio.
upstairs and
Kay's.
Kay's and that when the pandemic happened and everything shut down and we were starting to open again, expanding outdoor dining was a great option, and a lot of places made that permanent. Federal Hill, which always had some outdoor dining,
Always, yeah.
but now they close down the street Fridays and Saturdays, and you can't drive through there, but it's all people friendly streets. I don't know if the residents who live on the second and third floors are unhappy about it. We haven't heard that, but I think it's a great thing. And I think it I guess depends on, if I lived there, would I think it was a great thing?
Right. Well, we have a woman from the city of Woonsocket making national news. All right, because she has been federally indicted. Allegedly, her and a guy from Pawtucket allegedly used the U.S. mail system to send drugs from Arizona to Massachusetts.
Oh dear.
And let's give them an A for effort. Because you just don't stick it in an envelope and send it on the way. You got to hide it somewhere. So they're putting it inside children's toys.
Oh,
Toy
even better.
trucks, Halloween decorations, and Disney items. So stick this in the Elsa doll, and maybe no one will notice it.
Yeah.
Well, the postal regulators noticed it.
Yeah, right.
And this usually what happens with when these people get caught. Between May and October of 2022, investigators seized about 2 pounds of meth and thousands of counterfeit pills containing fentanyl.
Oh.
So you start in May and you got away with it, and no one noticed. At least you don't think no one noticed.
Right.
So you do it again,
Right.
and again, and again, and again, and they're just getting evidence against you.
Right.
And then
They're
do
just
the
building their case, and
then
then
they build
boom.
the big bust.
Yep.
While
So
you
they-
think
so
you're getting away with it, and you're so smarter than them.
So were they? Was it this woman and man? Were they living in Arizona?
It doesn't say. It
Or they
doesn't
were
say. It
just
doesn't say
from
how they do it.
here?
They just the copy that we have says Denise Guyette of Woonsocket and Nathan Body of Pawtucket. They use the U.S. mail system, and they're sending. And they must maybe there's other people involved.
Yeah.
Contacting people in Arizona to send the drugs to Massachusetts.
There's got to be more people involved.
And
Like
we'll-
who's receiving it on the other side? Like it's
Maybe they are.
Oh, maybe
we'll go,
they are.
Send
Sure.
it to Attleboro. I don't know. Nearby, and we'll go pick them up. I don't know, but they have since been caught.
Good.
So
That's good.
all right. So they've been federally indicted. So
Yeah, that's
so
not good for them.
other things going on. Oh, by the way, do you like Starbucks?
Not so much.
Okay, 300,000 Starbucks vanilla Frappuccino drinks are being recalled.
Be-
I don't think it's at the Starbucks. I think it's in the supermarket where you get those glass bottles.
Oh, yeah.
Those things. The FDA says it's because the glass was found in some of the bottles.
That's oh no, oh no.
Yep. It's a Class 2 recall, and that means when a product causes temporary or medically reversible adverse health consequences. Now, the recall affects bottles with an expiration date of March 8th, May 29th, June 4th, and June 10th of this year. Spokesperson for PepsiCo, which produces and distributes the coffee chain products, says marketplaces are in the process of removing the product from their shelves. So take
Yeah.
a look at them if it's in your
For
fridge.
for sure. And I was never a big Starbucks fan.
No?
Well, their coffee's really expensive. Like I'm not going to spend $6 or $7 for a coffee or grande or whatever fake sizes they've come up with. I always liked Dunkin' Donuts when I was younger
All right.
because I'm a Rhode Islander, so that's
right.
that's what
That's where
we
you go.
do. Like when Starbucks tried to open here, they ended up closing because nobody would go.
There's still one in Lincoln, I think.
Oh, maybe, right. But no, I would rather not pay that much for coffee. And I think their coffee kind of tastes a little
So
bitter.
no on the vanilla Frappuccino?
No vanilla
Oh, okay.
Frappuccino.
So in case you are, check your fridge.
Yes, but do
throw that
check if
stuff
that's
out.
up your alley. Yes, make sure you don't have glass in your.
All right.
It's not good for the
So
tummy.
we get two kind of humorous stories coming out of Connecticut. Not Connecticut, I'm sorry, Kentucky. And
a little different.
it is a little different. But a man goes to the drive-thru at a bank, all right, in Kentucky. He's smoking marijuana at the same time he's trying to conduct business with the bank.
Uh-huh.
So the bank employee calls the cops. And they found a jar of pot in his backpack, along with a scale, baggies, and prepaid cell phone. So he's a bit of a dealer in this thing.
Okay.
Police say they also found a journal that appears to be a record of drug deals. He wrote it all down.
'Cause make
Thanks
sure
for making
you-
it easy for me.
Oh my goodness.
He's facing drug possession and marijuana trafficking charges. And when I hear about stories like this, I think back to my very first job back in the 1980s, working at Burger King, and I did do the drive-through.
Yeah. Oh, for
And,
sure you had that.
Yeah. And I don't remember anything like this. Occasionally, we'd get some rowdy people because we always knew when there was the store I was at was in South Attleboro, right on Route 1, in case you know where it is. And we always knew when there was a concert in Providence.
Of course.
Because the McDonald's down the road was closed and the Taco Bell next to us was closed. We were the only one open after midnight. So people got in their cars, they got out of Providence, and now they're hungry.
Right, now they're hungry.
We always had the line.
And y'all had the snacks.
We sure did, and we had the burgers that were delicious.
And I'm
so-
sure you probably smelled a little something now
yeah,
and then, but
we never saw
would
anybody
you-
doing it, and
Right,
I
right,
never
right.
saw anybody drinking in the car either. Although we had our suspicions.
sure.
but
But if
nothing
you had
that
smelled,
brazen.
if you smelled it, Would you call the cops?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't have either.
I think the only time we only had to call the police once when I was working there, and we actually had someone that was drunk in the restaurant.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And he was
yeah.
just out of
Well, if you're
control.
drunk and disorderly,
So
that's one
we
thing.
called, and the North Attleboro police, South Attleboro police showed up quickly, and they got it. But anyway, back to Kentucky. A recently introduced Kentucky bill will limit where drag shows are allowed to take place. All right, the bill would ban the shows and other so-called adult-oriented events. Would you call a drag show an adult-oriented event? I have never been to one.
I mean,
I thought they just sang and dance
they do.
and tell
It
jokes.
depends.
Are the jokes a little more risque than?
Yes, the jokes
Okay.
sometimes can be, but then you also can do like a drag brunch or drag bingo. It really depends on the event. I mean,
Okay.
a comedy show could be just funny, or a comedy show could be risque.
It can. Okay, well, now this bill is going to ban the drag shows and other so-called adult-oriented events from happening within 1,000 feet. That's not very big, but 1,000 feet from any park, school, and other places that, quote, cater to minors. That's so vague.
That is so vague. It's basically
Please be specific.
it's enabling legislation to discriminate against trans people.
Well, the bill's sponsors say they made the move because these shows have become, quote, overly sexualized, unquote. Critics say the bill...
Become.
Critics say the bill could lead to a ban on LGBTQ events like Pride Fest,
Absolutely.
which takes place, I guess,
Slippery
in
slope.
Lexington.
Yep.
So
Can't right? I mean, what if the parade route goes by
a park.
a park? Yeah,
it might.
Right. Right.
So they really got to get rid of this place caters to minors. That's too open for interpretation.
So you can't walk by an ice cream store.
Yes.
Right. I mean,
someone could say that.
well, right. It's purposely vague. It's purposely vague in order to discriminate.
Yeah. Oh, okay. They're having fun in Kentucky, Dave.
Well, it's like this. Kentucky's just one place. They're having fun everywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
there's got to be a law, right? There's got to be a law. No. There doesn't have to be a law. It's real simple. These people over there are like that. They believe in that. Fine. They're doing their thing. We'll do our thing. Peaceful coexistence. You see
can't have that.
anybody
No.
in that LGBTQ plus parade coming out with machetes and
Firearms?
and going
No.
after firearms and going after your kids? No.
No.
Well, then go. Let them have their fun. You know,
Just
you don't
bring
have
if
to
you don't like it,
subscribe to
don't
it.
bring your kids to the parade.
Right.
Have we all forgotten that I vehemently disagree with what you're saying, but I will fight to make sure you can say it?
Yes.
Have we all forgotten
yes,
that?
We have.
That has been going away. Yeah.
We have.
Really, I want everybody to have their say. I mean, it doesn't make any difference what your opinion is. If you're on the radio station, you say your opinion. You know, I got people that say things on the air, and then someone else calls me up. You can't let them say that. I said, yes, I can, and you can come on and say what you want to say too. And I totally believe in that.
Yep. If you
Okay.
don't want to go to the drag story hour, then don't go.
Don't go to it. Yeah.
Well, they shouldn't be using public facilities for it. Well, it's their public facilities too.
Yeah, they pay taxes too. So.
Right.
But I don't like it.
Right. There's the NIMBY. There's a
Government
NIMBY.
is not responsible.
Oh, I
for-
don't care if they do it, but just not around me. Well, so you care.
Government is not responsible for making anyone happy. They're responsible for
But they
giving
are,
you the
they are.
opportunity. No.
I'm being
I'm
facetious.
talking about reality.
I'm talking.
Government is not responsible for making anyone happy. They are responsible for giving you the opportunity to make yourself happy.
All right. Let's bring this up
An
to
equal
this is,
opportunity, I should have said.
Up in Milford, New Hampshire, not too far away, the school district is reversing its ban on restroom urinals.
Oh, yeah.
Local school
That was
board
sad.
members in Milford voted to reverse the ban earlier this month.
Milford, New Hampshire, by the way,
Yes,
folks.
following a contentious February 6th board meeting during which members had pitched a proposal that would require students to use restrooms and locker rooms based on their assigned gender at birth. That proposal upset transgender and gender nonconforming students who protested traditional gender assignments. Board members then pitched a urinal ban as a compromise, a move that made no one happy, prompting the
Because
board
it had too much common sense.
prompting the board to flush the idea.
Oh boy.
I did not make that up.
That was actually in the-
that's written for
That's in
me.
the
Thank
copy,
you very
yeah.
much. So
Well, it makes too much sense.
to
It's really
which
clever.
one?
If you're going to remove a gender-specific porcelain appliance from these public, restrooms, then what you're doing is you're making everything exactly the same. The ladies' rooms are the same as the men's room, and so because there's no differences, bingo, everyone is served by the same facility.
But it doesn't matter if there's a.
I know. The
urinal
problem
in
is,
there.
and I can't tell you how I would have gone with this if this was 30 years earlier and Nicole was still in school. I would have been uncomfortable with having no boys' rooms, no girls' rooms, knowing how they misbehave, knowing how there's no cameras in them, knowing how staff would infrequently, because there was a separate restroom for the staff where I went to school. And so this was just territory, out of sight, out of mind, knowing kids, what are they going to do in there? And I can tell you that I probably would have had a little concern about that. But as an adult now, with kids not in school, I'm saying, oh, gee whiz, yeah, you're right. But these kids have been raised differently than the kids of my generation were.
Well, my daughter's in high school, and she does, she plans her day perfectly and does not use the restrooms during the school day, because when she has, and she's a girl, and she goes in the girls' room, they're smoking and vaping.
Ah, yes.
And she just doesn't want to be around that
Yeah,
either.
yeah,
So she
that's-
just doesn't use the restroom.
Right. So when I had put a bill in a couple of years ago and it passed, and it was to make all public single-user restrooms non-gender specific. And the only requirement was take the men and women's sign off the door, and this is single public use. Take the men's and women's sign off the door and just put restroom. And so somebody, because every day is a school day. And so I asked, well, what if there's a urinal in one and there's not a urinal in the other? And the person from GLAD said, well, if this whoever person wants to use the urinal, they can, or if they don't, then they won't. It doesn't matter if there's one there or not. But you don't have to ban the urinal. You just change the sign on the door.
Most of this is, of course, emotional. But actually, urinals use less water than toilets do. Mm-hmm. And so, you didn't know that?
Well, I mean, it seems. I
Look
didn't,
it up
because
on
I
the
haven't.
internet. Per flush is less on a urinal
It makes
than it is
sense,
on a
but
because
truth
it
be
doesn't
told,
have to worry about solids.
I personally have never used a urinal, so I wouldn't
Well, there you go.
really
But
know
I'm
that.
just saying that. But now, if you're in charge of the money and the facilities and stuff like that, you're going to point out that now you're going to use more water if you eliminate the urinals.
That's going to
It's
cost
a
more.
fiscal issue.
That's right. It's
always go back to making it a fiscal argument.
Always comes back to money.
Right.
All right, we got to run. We're over our time here on the Coffee and
What?
Program. Thank you for listening in, Dave Richards. Thanks
Leslie's
for
waiting.
Popping in.
She'll be here shortly after the news. Hey, listen, folks, the office is closed today. Denise has a really good union. And we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, if you come in and pick up a prize or something else like that. In the meantime, make it a good day.
Thank you, Dave. And Melissa Murray, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Happy President's Day. And don't forget to play our Dead Presidents contest, which can only be played online on our website, onesocketradio.com.
And at 6 o'clock tonight,
It's the Tiki Bar here on ON Radio.
right ahead of the Woonsocket City Council meeting.
Stay tuned for Leslie Page at the Libraries coming up, and then Food First with Karen Zangari.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue